Hello, sorry that I could not be here with you guys. I did prepare I went old school and just did them on index cards. I was going to kind of hand them out and have some of a co-mingling, if you will, to change it up from PowerPoints, which sort of have people zone out, and I wanted people to be engaged. So the goal of this exercise is to take 3 opportunities that need some help moving the sales process forward. Maybe that's just getting into the account penetration, networking. Maybe you have an anti-sponsor. Maybe you just need and be able to have a negotiation. The MSOs that we learned in negotiation training. So what I wanted to do is first set the stage for how I wanted to approach the exercise, and that one is to just be open-minded. Let's take on new ways of thinking. We often, myself included, have thinking that we go to over and over again, but how can we just open up to new ways, especially ways in which our colleagues have approached things. Second is just to be fully engaged in the process, just be in the here and now and not worry about what's going on in the outside world for a period of time. It's been shown time and time again, people who are very successful entrepreneurs often do a period of immersion where they may go underground for weeks or months at a time. Now, we don't have that luxury of doing that, but that's just something to think about. And finally, let's focus forward. It's easy to sort of look at, okay, what's happened, why has it happened, all those things, keeping a positive spin on it. So our ways of being today are open-minded, engaged, and focus forward. So what I'd hoped to do during the sessions was to sort of go over some topics, and you can pause the video. I'm just going to kind of go through these. And the goal of these cards is they're not exhaustive, but they would be, what are the topics, what are some of the concepts that we can use to call on during the sales process, in our sales tool belt. What are the things that we can do? So my goal in this would be just to hand the cards to different people in the group, and maybe even on a flip chart, make a list of some of the things that you do for each of these skills. So what we're doing here is sharing what cold calling means to you, how you do it, how you employ it, and so maybe some people that are good at it can also learn from some people that may not have a chance to practice that. The next skill would be group think, getting whether your colleagues together, your marketing people together, your management together, and how can you leverage that to get to the next level in the sales process. Of course, there's always using Alvedo. Do we utilize Alvedo? Alvedo's got, obviously, a long history. He brings a certain skill set of negotiation and being able to be the tough guy in a situation where maybe you need to play good cop, bad cop. So how have you done that in the past? If you can want to sit and make a little list of the ways that you use that constructively. I know Trikoff has used that quite a bit. Finally, marketing. So we have a bigger marketing group, but employing those marketing resources, people like Miranda who know the subject matter, honestly, in some ways much better than we do. She spends a lot of time immersed in it. So how can you get her on a call? How can you get her at a customer site? Using her when I had the glycoengineering and having her on the phone was very, very instrumental. So even meeting with marketing, whether it's phone or on a regular basis. So think about ideas around that, and if you want to pause and talk about that, you're welcome to do that. And then global. So our global colleagues, there are challenges there, and there are strengths there. There are, certainly we've been told time and time again about if there are sticking points to pick up the phone and make a call to Andreas, make a call to people in global that can move things along and get you answers quickly. We don't want to spend a lot of time in wish lists. We don't want to spend a lot of time, in fairness to our global colleagues, about whether and trying to do things that maybe are outside of our resource or skill set. But how have you used global effectively, and how could you use global more effectively in the future? So what are the cyber tools that we have? LinkedIn, trade journals, Twitter, Google Alerts. How have you used these? Finally, we have a huge FAC group, and I don't know about the rest of you, but no longer can I feel like I can be the expert on everything that we have going on in our group. But we both have the instruments FACs and the molecular FACs. So who's been successful and how in leveraging those people, and what could we do in our present opportunities to get those things moving forward. Sometimes it is helpful in the sales process not to be the expert, but then to bring in somebody else who can act as a confidant, and at times they can get information that a customer may not feel like revealing to a salesperson because they have more of an academic troubleshooting relationship with the FAC. So then there are all the subject matter experts. Molecular, we of course have a pharma one now, instruments being our instrument reps, and Salesforce. How are these tools in your tool belt, and what could they be, what could you do to leverage these more to move sales forward and of course close them this year? Instrument reps. So most of us are familiar. Lance does an outstanding job helping us out with those. But Lance and I just recently talked about how we can get more plugged in into certain accounts. Helping your instrument rep, he's not only there or she's not only there to help you with the instruments, but how can they help you prospect other opportunities, glycoengineering, or some of our pharma QC tools. Pain and gain. These are some of the tactics that we use. How often are we opening up pain and gain? We talk about not, I like that, what we learned in our last mid-year sales meeting, not to should all over your customer. And I think pain and gain gets us away from that and gets us focused on the customer, but also gets them emotional to a point where they can open themselves up to understand where there may be gain for them in a particular solution. But spending time using golden silence and doing these things can move it forward. Green sheets. Between us, some of these things we need to do, we're asked to do, but when have green sheets been helpful? How have you used them? We don't want to do them for every single sales call, but when do you find that they help the most, and why? The same would go for blue sheets, for your larger, more strategic accounts, for accounts where there's a lot more things going on, where you're doing a little bit more large account management perhaps. Blue sheets might be helpful, and they're also helpful because they can help you with the group think when you're talking to multiple people. Finally, I think these last few cards, negotiation. We had some negotiation training. Alvida's really good at negotiation. I know Trykov does a very good job of that as well. Jolene is excellent at it. I think we have some people on our team that are really strong negotiators. So using those, but also using the idea of anchoring first, of presenting multiple options to the customer by presenting things that could be used points of leverage, and also selling your solution up through the value chain. So you may be selling something that's $75,000, but to another person and somebody else you may not typically be selling it to as end use, that solution is worth $7,500,000. We talked about that in our negotiation training, something to think about. So that is sort of the food for thought to get this teed up. So before we jump into the exercise, there's some questions I think that we should focus on. And the questions to focus on are, while we're doing the exercise and in your groups of 3, what I'd say is hold each other accountable. Is what you're focusing on, is it actionable? So is it actionable? Is it something that you can take action on and keep things moving forward? The second point is, does it matter? sometimes I'm as guilty of this as anybody else. We get in the weeds. We get in the weeds about a detail, about, and maybe it doesn't matter. So really hold yourself accountable neutrally and say, does it matter? Does it make a difference if you have or you're focusing on this detail or not? And will it really make this? Will it really move the sale forward? If you didn't focus on this detail, at the end of the day, would that make a difference in your result? So, also, most importantly, does the customer want it? Again, this is the idea of being focused on the customer. I think one thing that Albedo also had recently emphasized to me is it wishful thinking or is it really going to be revenue? We shouldn't spend time focusing on wishful thinking. Meaning, when I say wishful thinking, what I mean is things that are too far out in the universe. They could happen, they might be big money, but they would take a lot of time, a lot of effort. I'm not saying that we shouldn't focus on those, but have an honest conversation with yourself, with your management, with global. If it's not in our resource and our skill set, then maybe we should focus on things that really are going to bring in money. And finally, are you shooting on your customer, or do you have that customer's actual win? So in this case, are you shooting on the customer means what? That you're really offering up your reasons, but you haven't really come to the customer's win, and that's really where you know that you have the solution. You have their buying concept, their actual need in focus, and that's a challenging thing for all of us to do, because we like to tell customers why we're the best at something, but they're going to buy for their reasons, not yours. So in the exercise today, I divided up 3 teams. Obviously, I'm not going to be there today, so I would kindly ask Albedo to be my substitute today. So the teams are Team Moneybags, which is Barney, Jorge, and Alex Trikoff. Barney will be the lead, and the function of the lead here is to keep people on track. I would say that 20 to 30 minutes should be enough to go through the opportunity, then have a group discussion about an honest discussion, a forward, engaged discussion about where are the sticking points, where are there's some new ideas, and take copious notes. So it'll be Barney, Jorge, and Alex Trikoff on Team Moneybags. Then on Seal the Deal team, it would be Jolene as the lead there, Alex, Domingo, and Lance. And then the final team would be Get It Done, or Get Her Done, would be Jolene as the lead, Afshin, and then of course Albedo. If you would mind filling in for me at this point, I'd appreciate it. So that's the exercise. I would say what I would think would be important is to leave some time to at the end of day 2 to summarize the key learnings. So I wouldn't say we have to go over every opportunity, but I think the things that you learned, new ideas that you got, things that you think that will really make a difference in 2015 and into 2016, you could share that with the group as a way of summary. So hopefully this is helpful. I put some time and effort into this, and sorry that I was unable to participate, but we'll see you soon enough. Take care.